The nano machine flares to life inside Cheon Yoonho's skull, flooding his veins with electric fire. He reels back, eyes blazing, as the dormant power shatters his frail limbs into steel. In an instant, he crushes the cultist's blade, tears through their ranks, and stands atop the fallen altar. Goryo's orphan now crowned the era's fiercest warrior. The future descendant lunges forward, slams a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowon's bruised chest, and the device flares to life. Instantly, Yeowon's blood ignites with raw power. His crippled leg steadies, and his eyes blaze with newfound mastery. He shatters the demonic cult's shackles, storms the training grounds, and, without a hint of doubt, begins his ascent to become Goryo's unrivaled martial legend.
The future descendant lunges into the dim alley, slamming a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowon's chest. Sparks flare, the device awakens, and Yeowon's blood roars with power. He shatters his captor's shackles, ripples through the demonic cult's ranks, and fists the darkness into dust. His rise to Goryo's unrivaled martial legend ignites in that single, electric heartbeat. The cult's elder watches, eyes wide, as a boy with no training defeats their best. He questions how a novice outsmarted their veteran, fearing an unseen strategy. How did a kid who didn't even master martial arts skill one of our members? He snarls, mind racing. He imagines the boy's random slashes were a ruse, a calculated deception. Cheon Yeowon needs a clear target, a way to gauge the enemy's strength. He eyes the distant figure, calculating the distance for a strike. The battlefield's noise drowns his thoughts, and a sudden shout, "Mole!" echoes, a warning or a code that freezes his advance. He hesitates, searching for the source, while the enemy's formation tightens. The brief pause gives the opposing side a moment to regroup, tightening the noose around Yeowon. The cost. His momentum stalls, and every second lost fuels the enemy's confidence. The delay buys the enemy time, and Yeowon must act fast. Cheon Yeowon craves answers, demanding to know what just happened as his opponent vanishes.
Cheon presses his palm to the glowing core, pleading silently for his descendant's success, begging the future to be kinder. He watches the nanomachine calibrate, its interface humming with promise that this version will be smoother, easier to master. Still, a nagging voice from the crowd mocks the strange teachings he's been fed, sowing doubt. He glances at the scattered numbers etched on a stone slab, a cryptic code that might unlock the device's full potential. He whispers the sequence, hoping it will seal his fate. The answer is already too late.
Please make sure to succeed and make this descendant's life easier, okay? Nano Machine is the latest version. Operating it should be simple enough.
Cheon forces the injector into his own throat, the 7th generation nanomachine igniting, a blinding surge rippling through his veins as the stone platform cracks and erupts in radiant shards. He endures excruciating alien pain, feeling his humanity dissolve while his heart pounds, desperate that the nanotech fuels his descendant's future and defies the icy death looming at his spine. The nanomachine hums wildly, its power unstable, as a shadowy adversary looms, eyes fixed on the flickering energy, leaving Cheon's survival hanging on a trembling filament. Unlocking the ultimate tier is just the beginning. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The descendant's hand glints as he slides the humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowon's ribs, the device sparking to life with a pulse that shatters his frail limits. Instantly, raw ki surges through his veins, his muscles humming like coiled springs. He smirks, eyes blazing, and stalks the demonic cult's courtyard, ready to crush its darkness and claim mastery. Cheon Yoonho gasps as the nanomachine awakens, electric fire coursing through his veins. The searing pain morphs into raw power. His battered torso steadies, muscles bulging with unheard of strength. He slams his fist into the stone slab, shattering it, and the echo draws the startled guard's eyes. The scribe spots a figure still whole among the carnage, his upper body intact. He recalls handing Prince Cheon a dagger. Now the blade is lodged in that figure's skull, a cruel trophy. As he watches, a soft breath cuts through the silence, a rhythm too steady for a dying man. Blood pools around the corpse, yet the breath belongs to Cheon, his clothes shredded,
his body unmarred. The scribe's heart pounds. He realizes Cheon survived without a wound, his life somehow rewoven by the Nano Machine. The mystery deepens as he wonders who pulled the strings of this impossible rescue.
Cheon walks, breath steady.
The unseen hand that saved him now looms larger than ever. Yoon-ho forces himself to stay calm, masking his fear with a practiced smile as the prince's voice drifts from memory. The prince, half-conscious, calls out a name that echoes from Yoon-ho's past. A doctor who once tended his mother's fever. Yoon-ho seizes the moment, asking to feel the prince's pulse, his hand hovering, searching for a sign of life. The prince hesitates, then offers his hand, trusting the stranger who claims to be a healer. The contact sends a jolt through Yoon-ho's nanotech-infused veins, confirming the device is still active. But the real problem is already in motion.
Prince Chen. Behave, we've met before, haven't we?
The prince's faint smile hides the danger looming behind the door.
Nanomachines erupt from Yoon-ho's veins, announcing a chilling deactivation as they purge waste, remodel vessels, and amplify his power, turning his body into a living weapon. Yoon-ho feels his humanity disintegrate, gaining godlike strength while losing the fragile trust of the prince and the hope of a normal life, his soul trembling on the edge of cold machinery. A shadowy cult leader watches from the altar, his intentions unknown, leaving Yoon-ho's desperate plea for answers hanging as the nanotech hum threatens to consume everything. Only the most dedicated readers make it to the end. You're already one of them. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Nanomachines pulse beneath his skin, turning a weak outcast into an unstoppable godkiller. The demonic academy opens its iron doors for the first time in a decade, and the air hums with the promise of blood. Princes and nobles line the courtyard, eyes sharp, each hoping to claim the title of heir. Whispers call this era the Battle of the Heirs, a phrase the magistrates toss like a warning. A lone figure watches from the shadows, his heart racing, knowing any misstep will seal his fate. The crowd's roar swells, and the first test begins. And that's not even the worst part. The Nano Machine hums louder, reshaping muscle fibers beneath his skin. Cheon Yeo-woon feels his limbs bulk up, sinews tightening into a warrior's frame. He watches his reflection, astonished as his body becomes a living weapon. The machine confirms the reconstruction, noting the prince's new physique. A voice, still the Nano Machine, offers to dress him, implying a full transformation from orphan to aristocrat. He accepts, slipping into armor that now fits his reinforced form. The cost is the loss of his former frail identity. Each added muscle feels like a reminder that he is no longer the boy he once was.
Body reconstruction complete. Attire ready.
He wonders if the crown he seeks will fit this new shape. The cramped shelves of his study, noting the scarcity of martial texts compared to the rumored vaults of the demonic academy. Determined to outrun every peer, he vows to use his new edge to dominate the academy's brutal ranking system. The obstacle looms. The academy's endless library of techniques, guarded by centuries of tradition. He decides to infiltrate the air candidate chambers of the South Castle, the heart of the cult's training. As he steps through the iron doors, the weight of countless dead aspirants presses on him, and the price of failure becomes a death sentence for anyone he cares about. The walls whisper, and the next test will bleed him dry.
The nanomachine detonates within Cheon's forearm, instantly downloading the entire blood passage tome and a lethal pressure point technique, flooding his mind with raw, weaponized knowledge. Cheon endures a searing mental onslaught, sacrificing precious personal memories to gain unstoppable combat power, feeling both the agony of loss and the intoxicating surge of unrivaled mastery. He vows to strike the demonic academy's heart, but the hidden ally's true motive remains unknown, and the prince's museum looms as a ticking trap threatening to shatter his newfound edge.
Blood is thicker than water,
but revenge is sweeter. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The nanotech sinks, he's alive but his body has already died. Cheon Yeowon stares at the flickering interface, desperate to steal Guard Jan's secret forms. He asks the AI if stealing a master's techniques is right, then bluffs that he'll need the moves to survive the Academy's trial later. The nan-assistant warns him of the moral breach, but the clock ticks. Yeowon forces the scan, forcing the program to upload the movements instantly. The nan circuit lights up, but the illegal transfer spikes his neural load, leaving him shaking with the weight of his choice.
Is it okay to steal Guard Jan's techniques without permission?
The transfer finishes, and the real danger just begins.
The Nano Machine whirs to life, its AI flickering like a second heart. Cheon Yunhwan feels raw power surge through his veins as future vision splinters the battlefield before him. He slashes through the Red Moon assassin Musang, each strike pre-calculated, each dodge already foreseen. Across the courtyard, General Kim Jang-ho watches, stunned, as the orphan from the demonic cult becomes Goryeo living legend. If you want more daily recaps, hit that subscribe button now.
The future descendant slams a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowon's wrist, its crimson veins igniting his blood. Instantly, his senses sharpen, his fists crackle with unseen power, and visions of every possible strike flash before his eyes. You hear the panic ripple through the hall as the prince's pulse flickers on the monitor. The guards whisper, "Prince?" while scanning his vitals, noting no danger yet. Their concern masks a deeper question. How did the transfer cause this reaction? Footsteps echo from the corridor, growing louder, hinting at an unseen pursuer. Yunhwan realizes the only way to protect the prince is to block the approaching threat and secure the area. But the unknown assailant could be the cult's elite enforcer, ready to strike. He lunges toward the doorway, muscles humming with nano-enhanced reflex, determined to halt whatever comes. The shadow at the door holds a secret that could rewrite their fate. The future descendant hammers a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yunhwan's pulse, igniting crimson veins that surge with raw, vision-filled power as he shatters the demonic cult's iron grip. Yunhwan feels his battered body reborn, muscles sinking with ancestral blood. But the frantic monitors flash a prince's failing vitals, threatening the cult's reputation and his own fragile humanity. The hall erupts with panicked guards questioning the prince's fate, while a hidden conspirator watches, ready to exploit the unresolved crisis and plunge the battle into deeper darkness. Thousands of fans already know what happens next. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and catch up before the spoilers hit.
Cha Yuji slams his apron against the greasy counter, the clang echoing through the dump-turn diner. A flickering hollow alert warns of a new rift, but his stomach growls louder than any apocalypse. He plates a steaming bowl of hangover soup when a silhouette in a cracked gas mask slides into the doorway, eyes hidden behind soot-stained lenses. "You've got a name?" Cha snarls, the hunt sparking anew.
Cha Yuji wiped grease from his apron, the clang of pots echoing his old battle cries. A flickering hollow ad warned of another rift, but the soup simmered peacefully. A hulking silhouette slipped through the kitchen doorway, gas mask glinting under neon. The former hunter's heart hammered. Peace was about to shatter.
Yuji assesses the situation, realizing causing a rift with the hunters would only draw more danger. He wants to avoid needless bloodshed, but the organization's reach makes every step a potential spark. He decides not to provoke them, keeping his hands clean and his mind sharp. He steps back into the restaurant, letting the night's tension dissolve into the kitchen's stale steam. The cost is a lingering unease, a feeling that the quiet is only a thin veneer over a storm. The calm feels fragile, and the storm waits to break. Yuji finally confronts the lingering threat, choosing to knock the two guards unconscious rather than let them linger. Yuji slams the kitchen door, silencing the guards' weapons, and scribbles a trembling warning on the counter as the boiling soup erupts, marking his reluctant return to the hunt. He feels his fragile peace shatter, tasting salt and fear, as his hidden family teeters on the edge of a hunter's vengeance. Lee Seung stalks the shadows, his resolve cracking, and the timer ticks toward an explosion that could expose Yuji's secret sanctuary. Done. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
The future descendant shoves a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowon's battered chest, sparks flaring against his scarred ribs. Power erupts, muscles twitching with unseen circuitry, and the cultist's sneers dissolve into fear. Yeowun rises, eyes blazing, fists crackling as he shatters their shackles, carving a path toward the throne of the greatest martial artist Goryeo has ever known.
You feel the weight of every betrayal as they close in. The future descendant materializes, implants the humming Nano Machine into Cheon Yunho's chest, and vanishes before the cult's blades can strike. Energy surges, muscles ignite, and Yunho's eyes blaze with newfound power. The cult's fire crackles as Cheon Yunho feels the Nano Machine humming awake inside his veins. A flicker of future-born light erupts, shattering the shackles of the demonic cult. Muscles surge, senses sharpen. He delivers a single, flawless strike that cleaves his oppressors in half. Bloodied but unbowed, the orphan-turned warrior steps onto the battlefield, destiny reprogrammed. If you want more daily recaps, hit that subscribe button now. The cloaked figure steps back, eyes blazing with twisted devotion. He snarls, "For the demonic cult, good work," then turns to the trembling recruit, his grin widening. The recruit swallows hard, his throat raw from the chant. A whisper slips from the shadows, "Lie," a cruel mockery that cuts deeper than any blade. The orphan's grin widens, a flash of confidence cutting through the tension. He wants to prove the rules are a joke, to turn the unfair single chance into his advantage. The commander's smug authority blocks his sarcasm, ready to silence dissent. Ignoring the threat, the orphan laughs, mocking the special benefit promise while the commander's eyes narrow. The audience murmurs. The promise of a hidden reward now feels like bait, and the commander's voice drips with disdain, hinting that only the chosen will see it.
Ha! Hama!
The promise of a secret prize hangs in the air, tempting everyone. Curiosity spikes as the orphan leans in, hungry for any edge. The orphan shatters the commander's cruel rule by daring to seize the Black Dragon Ball, igniting a violent clash that rattles the Academy's towering halls. He feels the rush of hope as his nanotech spikes, but the commander's icy glare promises exile and the loss of every lingering dream, leaving his heart pounding with desperate survival. The Black Dragon Ball's true power remains a mystery, and the commander's secret fifth-floor library looms, threatening a fatal showdown that could either crown the orphan or crush him forever. It's gonna get much, much worse before it gets better. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The Nano Machine whirs to life inside Cheon Yunho's veins, igniting a surge of raw power that shatters his broken bones. He leaps from the cult's dank dungeon, fists crackling with radiant energy, and slams through the iron-bound gate. Soldiers stare, mouths agape, as the orphan-turned weapon slices a path toward the throne, his destiny rewriting the very bloodlines of Gongju.
The descendant slams a glowing Nano Machine into the trembling wrist of orphan Cheon Yeowun, and the device erupts with electric fire. Instantly, Yeowun's blood ignites, his senses sharpen, and techniques surge through his veins. He shatters the cultist's shackles, slices through the training grounds, and declares no one will ever bind him again.
The descendant materializes, thrusts a humming Nano Machine into Cheon Yeowun's scarred chest, and disappears. Power surges through his veins. His muscles ignite, and forgotten techniques snap into place. With the cult's assassins closing in, he shatters their ambush, his newfound speed turning blades into harmless breezes. The orphan grins, realizing his destiny has just been rewritten. The elder laughs, the sound slicing the air like a blade, claiming the sting is merely a test of ears. Yunho feels the vibrations intensify, each note faster than the last, threatening to shatter his focus. He channels the Nano Machine's adaptive algorithms, letting the energy flow through his veins instead of resisting it.
Cheon Yeosun watches the shadows shift behind the elder, heart thudding, because the test demands absolute focus. A sudden, inexplicable silence falls, and the elder's eyes flick to the empty, as if sensing an unseen presence. The warrior's mind screams that something is wrong, yet the Nano Machine reports no threat. He steadies his stance, muscles coiled, ready to spring at any hint of danger. The elder's voice cracks, accusing him of weakness, and the nanotech spikes, flooding his veins with cold fire. He feels a sharp sting in his spine, a warning that his opponent may not be human. What comes next changes everything.
Cheon Yeosun unleashes his Nano Machine, converting his dormant Nigong into a deafening, resonant wave that shatters the sound-based test and sends the battlefield's dead bodies into a trembling, silent void. He feels his pride and the upper clan's honor teeter on the edge as his comrades collapse. His own life hanging by a fragile thread of amplified inner power that could either redeem him or consume him entirely. The Elder's narrowed eyes flick toward the lingering darkness behind him. The Nano Machine flickers erratically, and an unseen threat looms, promising a fatal backlash that could annihilate everything Yeosoon fights to protect. Fans from over 50 countries already wake up to Manhwa with Hari recaps. Subscribe and be part of it. The narrator's blood boils as the fifth elder and the kids in the front glare like wolves. He knows they think he lacks Nigong, and their wounded pride fuels their fury. He can't let them see his doubt, so he forces a grin and pretends the power surges inside him. The elder's clenched jaw tightens, the children's eyes flash with contempt, and the room crackles with tense silence. He bites back his fear, because showing weakness would hand them his downfall. That wretch? He had Nigong. If it shows, I think it's the kids in the front and the fifth elder angry, right? Their anger spikes, and the real test is just beginning.
Cheon Yunho snarls as the dormant Nano Machine ignites, his veins sparking with electric fire. Blood erupts from his wound, yet his muscles coil tighter, each strike shattering stone pillars. The demonic cult's assassins falter, eyes widening at the impossible power surging through him. Yunho lunges forward, the future's technology roaring within, and the battlefield bows to his newfound might.
You clench your jaw, feeling the Nano Machines pulse one last time before they sputter out. Hey, you crazy! I thought I was dying! The wounded youth yells, his voice ragged, blood still dripping from his lips. The elder barks, MPH, as he tries to regain control, while the crowd's panic spikes into frantic shouts. And shock ripples through the courtyard as the elder repeats his disbelief, his eyes scanning the wounded boy for any sign of fainting. He expects the kid to collapse like the others who lacked internal energy. Instead, the boy clutches his side, blood seeping, yet his breath steadies. The narrator watches, heart pounding, realizing Pure will hold the boy together. The elder's rage builds, his confidence shaken, while the boy pays with shattered ribs and a bruised spirit.
How is that possible? How could he have endured my energy wave without any Nigong? If he had no Nigong, he would have fainted like those other kids. He had very serious injuries.
The fifth elder erupts, demanding proof of the boy's Nigong, and two guardians materialize, their colliding auras tearing the courtyard into a storm of raw energy. The bruised youth hangs between death and salvation, while the elder's pride shatters, risking his lineage's respect to keep the child alive. A mocking voice promises deeper danger, and the hidden guardian's fate hangs unresolved as the elder's numeric code summons an ominous power that could rewrite the test. True fans know the lore is the best part. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari. You hear the scream of metal on metal as a body bursts from the operating table, blood flooding the demonic academy's halls. The academy's doctor rushes forward, eyes wild, desperate to stop the tide. He wants to save the patient, but the wound gapes wide, spilling life with every heartbeat. He grabs a scalpel, presses it to the torn flesh, and forces his hands to stitch what he can. The patient's pulse flickers, a thin thread barely holding on. The doctor's breath hitches. The first real test has already turned deadly. The doctor's mind races, wondering how a living patient could appear on his first day. The future's descendant plunges the Nano Machine into Cheon Yeowun's flesh, and the dormant circuitry ignites with a surge of crimson light. Muscles coil like steel springs, wounds seal in seconds, and his senses sharpen to a predator's edge. The demonic cult's shadow recoils as Yeowun shatters shackles, his newfound power carving a path toward the throne's fiercest martial champion. The Guardian's resolve wanes, and the looming threat of a failed seal looms larger than ever. He pretends to be dead, hoping the guard will lose interest. The guard, annoyed, leans in, fists clenched, ready to strike. The pretend victim's heart pounds, lungs shallow, fearing the blow that would end him. The right guardian watches the exchange, his brow furrowing as he questions the newcomer's true purpose, wondering if the academy's promise hides a dagger. The newcomer smirks, dismissing the concern with a laugh, then pauses, weighing the risk of a baited hook. He swallows, eyes narrowing, and decides to test the waters, offering a chance that could either lift him or drown him. He steps closer, voice low, and the air tightens with anticipation.
Right, Guardian, do you think I'm a fool? Ha ha ha, that's funny. What can they do about it?
The tension spikes, and a hidden blade clicks into place. The chapter ends at a breaking point for Nano Machine. Every answer opened 3 new questions. The final moment leaves everything and everyone on the edge. The story's about to escalate in a way that changes the entire series. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and stay tuned. The Nano Machine flares to life inside Cheon Yeowoon, sparking a cascade of nanites that seal his wounds in an instant. He lunges from the infirmary, muscles humming with newfound power, and shatters the cultist's iron gates. Blood splatters the stone as he confronts the demonic cult's leader, his eyes blazing with future-born resolve. The legend of the greatest martial artist ignites. The future descendant lunges forward, plunging a humming nanomachine into Yeowoon's chest. Sparks flare as the device awakens, sealing his broken bones and flooding his veins with electric vigor. In an instant, the cursed orphan shatters his shackles, slashes through the cult's blackened altar, and stands triumphant. His eyes blazing with newfound power, destiny rewritten in nanoscopic code. A senior guardian watches, nodding slowly, acknowledging Yongji's grasp of the breath of Nigong. Yongjae needs an ally, a student to back his claim, yet the guardian doubts his sincerity. He wants at least one supporter to survive the Academy's cutthroat trials. The guardian's silence blocks him, forcing Yongjae to plead. He bows, offering his loyalty, and the guardian finally permits a tentative mentorship. The exchange costs Yongjae his pride. He must bow twice, a humbling ritual he never imagined performing. Still, the bond forms, giving him a foothold in the deadly hierarchy.
You cannot live your whole life in service.
The dissenting cadets glare at the elder's decree, their shoulders rigid with defiance. The elder, convinced they cannot swallow the verdict, orders the rebels expelled from the demonic academy. A shout pierces the air as a cadet cries, "Kick the rebels out!" The elder's hand slams the floor, sending vibrations that stagger the dissenters. A sudden burst of pain shoots through a young man named Khan, his body convulsing as the elder's power crashes into him. The academy's walls tremble, and the once orderly training grounds drown in a tide of fear and anger.
Rumor says battle will be contested.
A quiet voice mutters, "As I thought." As the tension in the courtyard sharpens, Nano Machine awakens, igniting Cheon Yangji's veins as he shatters iron shackles and erupts through the courtyard. Fire and steel spiraling around him in a single, thunderous charge. The elder's crushing energy wave humiliates the cadets, stripping them of honor while the expelled rebels watch their futures crumble, fearing a fate sealed by the Academy's ruthless will. Whispers between Hama and his ally echo through the courtyard, hinting at a hidden agenda that could ignite a war, leaving the Academy teetering on the brink of chaotic upheaval. Your time is valuable. I won't waste it. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari.
The descendant materializes in the dim sanctum, thrusts a humming nano machine into Cheon Yeowoon's throat, and vanishes. Power surges through his veins, the cult's shackles crack, and a dormant brilliance ignites. Within moments, Yeowoon shatters the demonic cult's grip, his fists humming with unseen energy, and the legend of the Shadow King erupts.
The demonic cult's torches flare as Cheon Yeowoon kneels, blood seeping from his wrists. A shimmer ripples through the shadows and his future descendant drops a humming nano machine into his heart. Sparks erupt, muscles coil, and the orphan's eyes blaze with newfound power. In an instant, he shatters his captor's chains and storms toward the martial throne. The nano confirms the plan. After self-recovery, it will scramble his pulse to fake organ trauma. The trainee smirks, seeing a 2-week window to fool Dr. Beck and learn from the right guardian. He gives the final command, trusting the machine to mask his true health while he pretends to bleed. The cost? He must endure the mental strain of pretending pain, and any slip could expose his secret to the cult's eyes. He steadies his breath, ready to play the sick patient.
All right. Then heal me now and fool Dr. Beck.
The guardian's lesson waits just beyond the counterfeit wound.
The Nano ignites self-recovery mode, flooding his cells with accelerated regeneration. The cadet, still trembling, presses for a sliver of information about when Cadet will join their squad, clutching at any hint of normalcy. The instructor sighs, cites the late hour, and promises an answer tomorrow, sealing the cadet's hope in a thin veil of delay. Frustration spikes. The cadet mutters that he must wait until the newcomer returns to the dorms. From the shadows, a sneering voice cuts through the hallway, mocking his weakness and promising a cruel lesson in pain, each word a blade aimed at his resolve. The cadet's spirit cracks, his fear sharpening into a silent vow for retaliation.
Hurry and get better, you lowly wretch. I make you feel pain enough for you to want death.
The answer is already too late.
Nano ignites self-recovery, flooding his veins with accelerated regeneration as cadets drill obliviously, his hidden battle igniting a silent storm within the core. He teeters between life-saving rebirth and the terror of being exposed, risking his squad's survival while the class faces mass expulsion and the loss of a crucial member. The infirmary rumor looms, the missing cadet's fate hangs uncertain, and the secret training beyond the massive doors threatens to shatter every fragile alliance. That betrayal stung. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari for the payback. You feel the weight of the Academy's stone walls crushing any hope. Cadet barely survived the first test. The next 3 weeks will kill him. He lies on the infirmary bed, blood still seeping, while the clock ticks toward a 2-week hospital stay. The group watches, panic rising, because a delayed recovery means missing the second trial and the whole squad's elimination. Their leader whispers a plan to wake the trainee, but the nurse's warning about worsening his condition stops them. They decide to wait, hoping a miracle speeds his healing. The silence grows heavier, and the deadline looms, and the clock's hands won't wait for miracles.
The teacher drops a bomb. He can only teach for 2 weeks. He offers a fleeting chance to visit the infirmary, then warns that once the cadet returns to his dorm, contact will be cut. He explains his daytime duties as a main teacher force him to keep appearances, or suspicion will rise. He adds that the demonic academy bans outside training, and any breach will amplify their problems tenfold. The cost. The cadet faces an impossible schedule, forced to choose between safety and the only path to power.
I can only teach you for 2 weeks. What? I can come while you're in infirmary, then no contact.
You feel the panic rise as the prince's name erupts from the crowd, a chorus of disbelief and rage. The prince, trembling, wants to prove he's untouchable after striking down Cheon Jongsum of the Poison Clan, but the Academy's masters block his pride, shouting that his lineage means nothing here. Their fury fuels his desperation, and he lashes out, demanding respect while the senior cadet watches, calculating his next move. The prince's roar shakes the training hall, yet the master's cold stare reminds him that strength alone decides rank. He seizes control of group, claiming the top cadet title, but the weight of that badge drags his conscience into darkness.
Prince. Goodness, Prince.
The cadet seizes the hidden flow, thrusting the Nano Machine needle into his vein just as the timer expires, unleashing a blinding surge of invisible fire that shatters the instructor's calm. He risks everything, exposing his mysterious lineage and earning the senior teacher's wrath, to gain the power needed for the looming trial, feeling his very life flicker between salvation and annihilation. With the prince's furious shout echoing and the guard's footsteps drawing nearer, the cadet's newfound power teeters on the brink of collapse, leaving his fate and the Academy's darkest secrets hanging in the air. There was a hidden detail in this chapter you probably missed. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari, and I'll reveal it next time. The Nano Machine whirs to life, pulsing through Cheon Yongwoo's veins as the cult's torches flare. He shatters the Red Moon sect's altar with a single, bone-crushing punch, scattering chanting acolytes like dust. Bloodied yet unbowed, he seizes the cult leader's relic, eyes blazing with newfound power. Ready to carve his destiny across Goryo's war-torn skies, the nanotech hums, fusing with Cheon Yongwoo's marrow as he endures the brutal trial. Each breath a jagged razor of Nigong. Sweat drips, muscles scream, but the Nano Machine pulses, rewriting his limits. He channels the new flow, shattering the Red Moon Sect's shackles in a single, thunderous strike, and the crowd watches the orphan assassin rise as Goryo's future champion.
The Nano Machine springs to life, flooding Cheon Youngwoo's veins with humming energy. He shatters the demonic cult's training hall, fists humming as steel bends beneath his blows. Taejo watches, eyes alight, while the Red Moon Sect's leader Kongsuk scrambles for a counter. With every pulse, Youngwoo rewrites destiny, carving a path toward the throne and a future no one imagined.
He walks away, and the silhouette waiting in the dark is someone who should be dead. The Academy's training hall hums with tension. The teacher stalks the center, eyes sharp, demanding silence so the Nigong flow can be heard. A trembling trainee fumbles his breath, desperate to keep the energy steady. The teacher hands the remaining duties to a junior, demanding she watch Cadet while he finishes afternoon drills. He watches the new swords clash, sees a fresh cut, and feels the weight of inevitable apologies. The price is another scar on the Academy's reputation.
Take care of Cadet, please.
He wonders how many more blades will bleed before the training ends. A nervous trainee mutters "Ninety" as the instructor's gaze pierces him. He wants to prove himself, but fear knots his throat. He forces a shaky nod, trying to hide his panic. The cost is his trembling confidence, visible to all.
Stay focused, or you fail.
Cheon Yeowoon ignites the dormant Nano Machine, a glacial surge electrifying his veins as the infirmary erupts in crimson chaos. He seizes a fleeting chance to shatter the demonic cult's hold, but the wounded cadet teeters on death's edge, threatening his hard-won redemption. The healer's desperate bandage tightens as blood pools, while unseen eyes watch, ready to exploit the awakened power and plunge the Academy into a darker war. Are you a casual reader or a true fan? Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari to make it official. The moment the glowing Nano Machine fused with Cheon Yoonho's spine, his blood ignited like liquid fire. He felt centuries of knowledge surge through his veins, and the demonic cult's shackles shattered. With every breath, his fists cracked stone. His mind plotted Goryo's salvation, and the whispers of a tyrant's rise fell silent before the future's assassin could strike. A crackling pulse erupts as the future descendant slips a gleaming Nano Machine into Cheon Yoonho's forearm. Instantly, his blood ignites with alien circuitry, granting him sight beyond centuries and muscles honed by hidden algorithms. He rises from the demonic cult's ashes, shattering their rights with a single, thunderous strike. His destiny forged in nanotech, his vengeance already humming.
What does he think he can do? He probably didn't expect me this tough.
The crystal's glow promises a battle that could shatter everything. You stare at the cramped room and feel the world tilt. Nothing familiar remains. Cheon Yoonho's eyes dart over the foreign tools littering the table. The buzzing needles make his skin crawl. He wants to understand the purpose of each cold metal point, hoping they're just ordinary weapons. The unknown devices block his grasp on reality, each one humming with the Nano Machine's hidden power. The Nano Machine whirs to life inside Cheon Yoonho's veins, igniting a surge of dormant power. He shatters the demonic cult's shackles in a single, thunderous strike, his fists humming with future tech. Allies rally. Kong Haejin brandishes a blade forged from nanite steel, while the tyrant king Gwangjong watches, helpless as Yoonho rewrites destiny.
The future descendant slams a humming Nano Machine into Cheon Yeowoon's heart, and the dormant power erupts like a sunrise over the demonic cult's cursed courtyard. Blood-stained robes fall away as his veins glow, muscles twitching with strength. With every pulse, Yeowoon shatters shackles, cleaves through the cult's priesthood, and storms toward the throne of Goryo, ready to become the kingdom's deadliest legend.
Yoonho ignites the Nano Machine, his fists humming with future tech, and shatters the demonic cult's shackles in a single, thunderous blow that ripples across the cursed courtyard. His lungs blaze, breath ragged, as he craves proof that the Nano Machine truly saves him, fighting the crowd's jeers and the searing chi surge that threatens to drown his newfound power. The unanswered call reverberates, promising a storm as unseen enemies close in, leaving Yoonho's shattered allies scrambling and his own heart pounding against the Nano Machine's volatile core. For those who want the full picture, not just the highlights, subscribe to Manwa with Hari. A desperate scream cracks the night as Cheon Yeo-woon clutches his throbbing wrist, blood searing like fire. The future descendant materializes, flickering nanothreads weaving into his flesh. Instantly, the nano machines pulse, mending wounds and igniting dormant power. Yoon-woon's eyes blaze, the demonic cult's shackles shatter, and a ruthless new warrior rises, ready to rewrite destiny. The blade whistles through the infirmary, sinking into Cheon Yeo-woon's ribs as he clutches the cursed wound. A masked assassin bows, whispering that the demonic cult's elite ordered the strike. A cloaked figure bursts into the dim altar, thrusting a gleaming nanomachine into Cheon Yoon-ho's chest. The device hums, fusing with his blood as ancient chants echo. Pain erupts, then a surge of impossible strength. Muscles coil, wounds seal, senses sharpen. Yoon-ho's eyes flare with future fire. The demonic cult's shadows recoil, unaware a new legend has just awakened.
The ancient cult's torches flare as Cheon Yeo-woon kneels, blood seeping from his bruised ribs. A shimmering ripple tears the air, his future descendant materializes, clutches a silver vial, and slams the nano machine into his chest. The implant hums alive, mending flesh in seconds and igniting a surge of power.
Fueled by the new surge, Yeo-woon presses his teacher for the blade formation that could turn his raw power into precise killing art. The teacher nods, aware that the window to train is closing as rival sects sniff the nanotech scent. He promises instruction but warns that tomorrow's schedule will be brutal, leaving little room for error. Yeo-woon clenches his fists, muscles already humming, ready to grind every second into steel. The teacher's calm voice steadies the storm inside him, yet the looming deadline tightens the knot of dread in his gut.
Teacher, starting tomorrow, can you teach me your blade skill formation? Of course I can.
Cheon Yeo-woon forces the bitter nanotech elixir down, and the swarm of nanomachines erupts, ripping his internal power 30 years ahead in a blinding surge of raw energy. He feels his lifetime of training collapse into a single, trembling breath, gaining godlike strength while the crushing fear of losing control gnaws at his soul. The teacher's sweat-soaked warning lingers as rival sects close in, leaving Yeo-woon's newfound power hanging on a razor's edge, uncertain whether it will become his salvation or his undoing. When the system gives you a hidden quest, you take it. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. The nanomachine hums alive inside Cheon Yoon-ho, sending a surge of nanites through his veins as he kneels before the cult's burning pyre. With a single, explosive strike, he shatters the demon sacrificial altar, sending ash scattering over the chanting zealots. Bloodied but unbowed, he grabs the cult leader's cursed amulet, its power now humming to his command, and sprints toward destiny. The nanomachine whirs to life, flooding Cheon Yoon-ho's veins with foreign fire. In a heartbeat, his ragged fists crack the iron-bound doors of the demonic cult, scattering terrified acolytes. The ancient courtyard erupts as he shatters the stone altar, his future tech aura searing the night. The nanomachine hums to life inside Cheon Yoon-ho's veins, igniting dormant power. He twists his wrist, a blade of pure energy slicing through the demonic cult's fiercest enforcers. Each strike shatters centuries-old oppression, and the blood-stained courtyard erupts in awe as the orphan, now a living weapon, claims his destiny, leaving the cult's shadows trembling.
Geez, you're doing all sorts of things. Did you think I'd forgive you after shaving your head? Garbage. Thought everything was fine for a bit. The quarters get noisy again.
You feel the panic surge as the doctor watches Cheon Yeo-woon bleed out, the room humming with angry curses. The orphan wants to stay alive, to prove the nanomachine isn't a curse. Cheon clutches the scroll, desperate to prove he won't let the teacher down. He wants to internalize the moves so his nanotech can record flawless execution. The lingering soreness in his shoulders and the looming deadline for the next assessment hinder his focus. He settles on a low stool, eyes scanning the ink, reciting each stance until his breath steadies. The nanomachine logs the repetitions, tightening his neural pathways. Each correct motion sparks a faint glow in his veins, but the effort drains his stamina faster than before. What comes next changes everything. The teacher presents a blade unlike any Cheon has seen. Cheon fuses the butterfly shadow step with the ultralight cold iron blade, slicing a hovering steel disc in a single, flawless arc that shatters the teacher's expectations. He feels a surge of triumph as his nanomachine records perfect execution, but the lingering soreness and data overload threaten his body and mind, leaving his coveted mastery hanging by a thread. The teacher's eyes narrow, demanding the final, unrevealed wild dance technique, while the blade hums ominously, hinting at a hidden flaw that could cripple Cheon when the next battle erupts. We're building the ultimate Manhwa guild right here. Hit subscribe on Manwa with Hari and join the ranks. The ancient cult's torches flicker as Cheon Yeowoon watches a silvered figure step through the shadows, a descendant clutching a humming nanomachine. With a swift motion, the device embeds into his chest, its nanites igniting like fireflies. Power surges through his veins. The cult's whispers crumble, and Yeowoon's eyes blaze with the promise of a destiny no demon can shatter. The future descendant materializes in a flicker of blue nanites, thrusting a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowoon's battered chest. Instantly, his veins pulse with electric fire. Wounds seal, strength surges. With the device humming awake, Yeowoon slams his fist through a cultist's skull, shattering the demonic cult's grip and igniting his rise toward unrivaled martial supremacy. Cheon Yeowoon watches the nanites pulse, feeling raw power surge through his veins. In a single breath, he shatters the cultist's iron chains, sending splinters flying as the leader's scream echoes. With the nanomachine humming, he darts through the courtyard, every strike a thunderclap that cracks the stone floor. The demonic cult reels, unaware that their orphan has become the fiercest martial legend Goryo will ever fear. Did you watch properly, student?
Yes, I did.
If you want more daily recaps, hit that subscribe button now. The old master watches Cheon Yeowoon's trembling form, bitterness flashing in his eyes.
You hear the hollow clang of a door closing behind you, and suddenly the clinic feels empty. Yeowoon watches the last patient disappear, his mind racing. What will become of him when the doctor finally leaves? The future feels like a cracked mirror, each reflection showing a different path. A ragged old man, not part of the cult, leans against the wall, his eyes glazed with fatigue. He mutters about more patients arriving, yet his tone drips with resignation, as if fewer patients mean fewer chances for the cult's grasp. Yeowoon nods, grateful for the brief mercy, and whispers a silent prayer for the trials ahead. He has no idea what's waiting.
I don't even have any other patients.
Yeowoon activates the second nanoformation. Nanites surge, his body ignites, and he tears through the cult courtyard wall with explosive force. He finally feels the master's approval, but the surge drains his humanity, leaving his purpose wavering. The mysterious boss symbol flickers, promising a hidden enemy, while the timer on his nanites flashes, threatening catastrophic overload. Blood is thicker than water, but revenge is sweeter. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Blood-soaked peasants, a broken leader, nanomachine revenge erupts now. The training yard hums with clanging steel as the clan gathers, eyes flicking toward the newcomer. The heir of the rival house steps into the circle, his reputation a whisper of danger. The leader watches, waiting for the heir to prove his worth, but the air tightens with rivalry. The heir's grin cracks the tension, daring the others to accept his presence. The crowd mutters, "It's him, the other clan heir in our group," while a sneering voice belts a mocking, "Kiki Kiki. You finally show up." A harsh shout erupts. Peasant blood. The challenge hangs heavy. The future descendant slams a humming nanomachine into Cheon Yeowoon's cracked ribcage, its microcircuitry igniting like wildfire. Instantly, bruised muscles surge, wounds seal, and a latent power erupts. With the demonic cult's dagger poised at his throat, Yeowoon shatters his shackles, charging toward the training grounds where legends are forged. The instructor lifts his hand, and the courtyard holds its breath. What he commands next will change everything. The nanomachine hums to life inside Cheon Yeowoon's veins, scorching his nerves with electric fire. In an instant, his battered body erupts with strength, shattering the demonic cult's iron shackles. He lunges forward, crushing the cultist's cursed blades with a single palm strike, eyes blazing with newfound purpose. A sudden shout erupts. "What? But..." A frightened kid darts away, panic flashing in his eyes. The kid wants escape to survive the chaos Yonghwa has spawned. The chaos itself, spilled blood and clashing steel, traps him, leaving no clear path. Yonghwa snaps his head, spotting the fleeing child, and hurls a swift, precise strike that slashes the boy's trousers, sending the ragged cloth flying. The child collapses, his scream echoing, while a seasoned assassin steps forward, accusing Yonghwa of betrayal for stabbing number earlier. The accusation fuels a tense standoff, and the cult's suspicion deepens. Nano Machine erupts in Cheon Yeowun's veins. Fusing with his marrow as his battered body shatters, the demonic cult's iron shackles and a futuristic descendant of nanites materializes, blazing his eyes. He seizes untouchable strength, feeling disdain melt into a fierce grin. Yet the crowd's scorn reminds him respect hangs by a thread, and the lingering pain of his scarred past threatens to consume him. The arrogant noble crumbles under Chan Mu-jiam's vengeance, but a shadowy adversary watches, whispering that the true trial looms beyond the battlefield, leaving Cheon Yeowun's fate hanging on a razor edge. He saw this coming 50 chapters ago. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari. Cheon Yeowun, a half-tiger heir, devours the medicine ball's power in one brutal swallows. The leader snarls, "You won't have any free time for the next 4 days. From dawn till bedtime, you train under hell." Yeowun grits his teeth, feeling the ancient chi surge through muscles that have never known such force. The older disciple scoffs, "You're still making excuses." Yeowun ignores the taunts, channeling the ball's energy into every tendon, surpassing a veteran's 30 years of practice in minutes. The clan watches, stunned, as his aura flares brighter than any they've seen. The blood-soaked rivalry is only just beginning. The apprentices mutter that the drunkard Seo Biamang could never have taught Yeowun properly. A low-born servant steps forward, his blood stained with the recent battle, and the leader scoffs, calling him peasant blood. The servant, trembling, offers a simple request, a place to rest in the clinic. The leader's sarcasm drips, questioning whether the servant dares insult the Lord himself. Yeowun watches, his nanotech senses flare, sensing the insult as a personal attack on his own honor. The leader's taunt cuts deep, and Yeowun feels a surge of righteous anger, ready to strike back at the very notion of class hierarchy.
I was going to crush him in front of everyone.
The chase stalls as the pursuers slam into a narrow alley, the air thick with their ragged breaths. One of them shouts a guttural command, the characters La and Chi echoing like a battle cry, trying to corral the fleeing prince. Yeowun sprints past, the Nano Machine spiking his speed beyond human limits. A voice snaps, "You fucktard, are you done running?" The insult cuts through the chaos, but Yeowun only smirks, hearing the mockery as fuel. Another pursuer spits, "What a joke! What?" Their derision fuels his push, and the ground trembles beneath his relentless stride. "You fucktard, are you done running? What a joke!"
The Nano Machine ignites within Cheon Yunho, and his fist erupts in electric fire, shattering the stone wall and sending cursed altar shards exploding across the banquet hall. Yunho seizes raw power while his heart trembles, knowing each pulse draws him closer to the demonic cult's deadly gaze and forces him to conceal his awakening from allies. The alley darkens as pursuers chant ominous characters. The next challenger looms with a far deadlier question, and Yunho's nano hum fades just as danger closes in. We don't just read the action, we read the lore. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari and dive deep. The moment the Nano Machine flickered alive inside Cheon Yeowun, his battered body surged with electric fire. He shattered the demonic cult's iron gate, his fists humming with nanite-reinforced power. Blood-soaked disciples fell as he vaulted past their cursed rituals, eyes blazing with future knowledge. The orphan's scream echoed, no longer a victim, but the storm that would rewrite Goryo's destiny. Cheon Yunho feels the Nano Machine's pulse, his veins igniting like living fire. In an instant, he shatters the demonic cult's iron gate, blades singing as he slices through their elite. Wang Jasong's men tumble, their screams swallowed by Yunho's thunderous roar. With each strike, his future self's whisper guides him, "Rise, become the unrivaled martial legend, and rewrite Goryo's destiny." Cheon Yeowun scrambles for a new stance, desperate to adapt his limited knowledge. He wants to counter the enemy's Spring Clan fist technique, yet his mind reels from the lack of experience with its intricate formations. He attempts a clumsy replication, his muscles twitching with raw effort, but the enemy's roar drowns his doubts, promising a swift end. The cost is another wasted movement, draining his stamina and exposing his back to a lethal strike.
Learn the formation before you die.
The question of which formation will finally turn the tide burns hotter. The enemy's eyes flare, a biocircuit igniting as danger spikes his senses.
The rival sneers, blaming every failure on Yeowon's own incompetence. His words slicing sharper than any blade. He wants Yeowon to crumble, to accept that the dirty coward of fate will always haunt him. The insult fuels a hot flash behind Yeowon's eyes, a storm of shame and anger. He snaps his head back, nanotech circuits spiking, and launches a rapid series of strikes that blur the air. Each hit lands with a crack, forcing the opponent to stagger and gasp. The rival crumples, clutching his bruised cheek, while Yeowon's breath rasps from the effort. The silence that follows promises a reckoning that could reshape his fate.
Yeowon ignites the Nano Machine's butterfly mode, unleashing a vortex of spiraling strikes that shatter the arena's silence and force the unseen opponent to expose his true technique. Haunted by his mother's desperate plea and a peasant's scorn, Yeowon feels his pride ignite, risking all to crush rivals and prove his clan's legacy survives. The opponent's cryptic chant reverberates, the Nano Machine's ultimate upgrade flickers, and a shadowy figure watches, leaving Yeowon's fate teetering on a razor-thin edge.
The real villain hasn't even shown their face yet. Subscribe to Manwa with Hari to find out who it is.